Good evening, guys. We're talking about the changing demographic in first home buyers this evening. Stay tuned. Some of these facts will shock you, but this will hopefully prepare you if you're about to step first foot into the first home buyer journey. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Alrighty. Hello.
How are you, Vids?
Very good, very good. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good, good. Kind of spoke about this morning, actually.
Yeah,
Some changing demographics with parents helping kids get into property, but we're going to spend the next few minutes talking about first home buyers, the changing landscape and demographic with 2025.
very much, very much. Let's hit it off.
It's a new reality, that's for sure. Like the the stepping stones to getting into your first property is near impossible without taking advantage of government incentives and grants, assistance schemes on the table.
Very much.
But I think it might be helpful for people just to, understand from an agent's perspective what's normal and what's not normal these days, so people don't feel like they're on their own.
Yep, very much. I think sometimes you need to let them know as well,
Yeah.
because they are used to getting this one thing, like like almost like having like this. So like
Mm.
they don't know out there and what are the other possibilities. And I think it's a good to lay it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, like comparing to a decade ago, the statistics tell us that first home buyers are getting older in Sydney.
Yeah,
So we're dealing quite often with a young family. It's no longer a 25, 30-year old. It's now 30 to 40 years old. That is the trend. So people are getting older, and with that, people are not necessarily just going for an entry-level property. People are holding out longer and saving more to, try and buy a forever home, or a home that's going to last them longer than just an initial, starting point in the market.
yeah, that is very interesting. So the first one by the age is increasing.
The age is increasing. That's,
Yeah,
yeah, that's for certain.
different. And do you think that's because of the living cost that's rising up, or the interest rate that are uncertain?
Well, it's funny, like the point two on the list is the time to save for a deposit. It was 3 to 4 years old as an average, but now it's 6 to 10 years old to save a 20% deposit in Sydney. And you look at the median house price, and there's no wonder why.
Yeah,
But that's where the assistance schemes come in. They're trying to sort of shave years off that and try and get people into the market quicker. But yeah, I would say cost of living is impacted.
highly. Yeah, but it's good. Like without the government schemes, I think there are lots of things that normally people take lightly.
Mm,
Uh, things like this, the deposits and the LMIs and lots of the other things that the government provide. And the thing is, they only make it better every year. I think it's easier to buy your first home with the lots of things. So yeah, I'll let you kick off with a few things. What do you think?
another thing that shocked me, and we spoke about it this morning, is the Bank of Mum and Dad. They're now the ninth biggest lender when it comes to guarantees,
Ah,
small loans, and like gifts.
gifts.
In Australia, it's like these the banks of Mum and Dad are helping 60
Hmm.
to 70% of first home buyers. So 6 or 7 out of 10, there's some
Very
kind of parent assistance.
like even on us being in the field, like almost half of the people that are buying for like their first home, their mom and dad
Mm,
are all, which is very good. Like
yeah.
I recently sold one there, a property for 950 in DY, very close walking distance to the beach, and mom and dad pretty much did all the heavy lifting.
Yeah,
Like,
I think normalize that process.
yeah, I think it'll definitely help. Like, I know there's a big trend, like to kick the bird out of the nest very quickly. But I
Mm,
think these days people are slowing down the kicking out process a little, and even if they do, like people that would normally downsize very quickly, they're keeping their homes. They're saying, the kids might return.
yeah.
So there is a bit of change going around.
Another thing in addition to that is kids, or I should say first home buyers, and not just kids, but first home buyers are getting into the marketplace and not necessarily moving in. So they are rent vesting for the
Mhm.
first 12 months or moving in initially and then renting it out after. To claim the benefits of having moved into the property,
Mhm.
then has the next 6 years capital gains free, but then switching it back to an investment property so they've got a stable income, generating some cash flow, living with the parents for a little while longer, and not having the extreme um, the extreme reality of moving in straight away and then having to pay mortgage, outgoings, and living expenses.
Definitely. And I can see lots of clever things these days, like even first-time buyers, they know a lot of the facts and figures. I think social
Mm,
media had made it easier as well. Like, there's lots of things people can work around with numbers. Like I mentioned, rent investing, for example, that was not very normal. Like,
yeah,
people think, as a first-time buyer, once you buy it, it's my home. You have to move in straight away, which not many people are aware that you can move in any time between the first 12 months or the first 11 months. So, which
yeah.
I'm seeing these days, that people, they let it rent out, still stay with their mom and dad, and once the kind of deadline happens, then they slowly move in.
Yeah. I'm finding buyers that are asking some really good questions,
Yeah.
and they're speaking to their accountants. They're talking about depreciation if it's a newer building. They're talking about the capital growth and like the tax benefits, if they're to structure it in a particular kind of way. So you're only a first home buyer once, and then you've got a 10-year period where you can't be having lived in an Australian property of your own. So it does reset, but you got to wait 10 years for that benefit. So people are spending a lot of due diligence and time up front getting in the right place.
Definitely. So does that mean that if someone has bought a property, let's say in the 80s, and they've lived there forever, and they're looking to downsize into an apartment, they could be qualifying for a first home buyer?
No, however, if they've purchased in the 80s, sold that property, rented since the 80s, 20, 30 years, they may
Mhm.
be eligible to get back in under a new first home buyer grant. So if they've not owned a residential property for
Mhm.
more than 10 years, or they've owned one in the past, then rented the remaining of their years, they may be eligible. So really good to speak with a mortgage broker if you're unsure. And there's only a set number of assistance scheme places each year, depending on what grant or assistance scheme you're going for. So that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, that's great. That's great info. Like, lots of things that you have to be careful, and the buyers, you have to be careful. And now
Yeah.
with two interest rate cuts this year, we can see, like ourselves, there's a lot of confidence in the market. So
Mm,
talking, there's a bit of a rumble going around. Like, the open home numbers are bigger. The auctioneers are saying there are more registered bidders, and all those things. And I can, like, personally, I'm seeing more investors out there,
mm.
uh, first home buyers. So I think the message is for anyone looking to buy their first home: buy it now, buy very quickly.
Yeah, well, for every 1% change in the cash rate, it reflects a 10% difference in borrowing capacity. So if we get another 0.25% rate cut, we're on track to having a 1% change in a positive direction. Since the beginning of the year, you're gonna have at least 10% more borrowing, and I think that's why you're finding investors stepping back into the marketplace, and you're finding first home buyers who are previously priced out but waiting on the sideline, not just for prices to maybe come down, but more so for their borrowing to go up.
Yeah,
They'll come back in, and that adds a surplus of buyers. And on a market like the Northern Beaches where it's supply and demand,
yeah.
that's a big part of prices, and competition.
Yeah, and it very, very true. Like, I was looking literally 2 days ago to see, okay, if I'm a first home buyer and I'm looking for a two-bedroom unit under 850,
Yeah.
uh, one.
Wow. Wow.
Just that blew my mind. Like, if I had 850, the reason I did 850 was I just took like average income of a person, like put it through some calculators and said, okay, 850 is comfortable.
Mm.
And looking at a bedroom unit because I might be looking to start a family, and there was one in Northern, like in DY basically, which is
Yeah,
the
it's
best to enter in the market in Northern Beaches. So that kind of caught me by surprise. So I think there either has to be change in tactics, or there are a few things that I think definitely changing for first time buyers.
yeah, it's got to be done as a stepping stone approach though, because
Yeah,
Sydney's median house price is $1.6 million. So even if you've got, a 10% deposit, you're doing extremely well. But assuming you don't take advantage of any assistance schemes and you can get a 20% deposit together, that's 320 grand. I don't know anyone that's walking around with that kind of money in the bank
yeah,
for their first property, unless, of course, they've won the lottery,
yeah,
or again, got a loan from the bank of mum and dad.
definitely. I think mom and dad bank's probably the best. The interest rate's not very very lovely there.
Yeah, that is the reality. You feel like it's normalize the process of taking helping hands, and it's not just about money, but it could be the advice, or it could be someone backing you in your corner, and yeah, speak with a mortgage broker before you go and do anything else.
Yeah, definitely. You always got to be clever while buying your first property, because it kind of it'll either leave a very good taste or a very bad taste. So you got to
Yeah,
be careful where you set a first foot going around. Because I've seen people that have done extremely well. They plan every move, they need to buy right. So I think people don't make money while selling. I think they make money while buying, because you got to buy smart.
yeah,
I
very
see.
well said.
So I think as a first-time buyer, you got to be very smart and very quick. And with these days, I'm seeing a lot of buyers are doing the research and due diligence
Mm,
fairly quick than before.
mm. Thank you, bids.
No worries, no. Thank you, Billy. It was a great chat, and I think we should see more first-time buyers out there.
Plenty more, plenty more.
Definitely.
Have a good evening.
Easy. Thank you, Billy. Take care. Good
See ya.
night.
Bye, bye, bye.